Hello, I'm Poe, and I'm a VRoid model. Sort of. And if you work with VRoid and are anything like me, I bet that you are dissatisfied with the texture resolutions coming out of VRoid Studio because they're pretty much across the board too low. They're blurry, they're muddy, they're unacceptable. Well, you know, you can get by, but they could be better. And so I am going to show you how to make them better. Well, how you can make them better. So Unity gives you a very simple way to get higher resolution textures on your VRoid models. Obviously, you have to still make those higher resolution textures. So there's obviously quite a bit of work involved there. Fortunately, it's not too terribly difficult, seeing as you can simply export your textures that you're working with from VRoid, get those into an external program, get them at a higher resolution, whether it be 2 times or 4 times the size of the VRoid options, and then you can just use those from there. So how do we do it? Well, in Unity, it's surprisingly easy, and it's odd to me actually that I haven't seen too many people talk about this or any tutorials for it. It's very, very easy. So you see in my preview here, probably what you might expect coming out of VRoid, right? The lines aren't terribly clean, it's pretty blurry. This is the resolution that VRoid gives you. This is the body texture, it's the back of my head. It's nice, detailed, straight lines that you can see sort of the lackluster nature of the textures we're working with. And so we'll be able to see the improvement. So that's what comes out of VRoid, which is 2048 by 2048. Now Unity, or at the very least, the version of Unity that is sort of the optimal version when you're working with VRoid and your VRM importer and things, which, by the way, there are plenty of tutorials for the VRM importer. I'm not going to go through that now, but, you know, you can find them very easily. So in this version, the highest resolution of textures is generally 8192 by 8192. So that's 4 times the body resolution size. And so once we have our textures, you know, what do? This is going to be the shortest guide ever, I assure you. So we have our textures list here in our project files. All we have to do is find the relevant textures we're working with. I have my body and we have my emission body here. And so we're looking at this little section here. This is what's sort of controlling compression of the textures, right? Because in Unity, you might want to compress your textures to keep things small, because, you know, you got game file size to concern yourselves with. We don't care. We want resolution. And so we just change our max size. We can go here, we can say 8192, and all we do is hit apply. The change will take place immediately. Of course, I'm cheating because my textures are already the higher resolution, right? 8192. I'm doing both the body and the emission because I have commingled lines here. And there you have it. You can see the incredible improvement in line clarity and texture fidelity through that. And that's it. Editor Poe here. I realized looking at the footage that I had captured earlier that I had made some assumptions about sort of the baseline knowledge people were going to have about Unity, and I didn't think that was necessarily fair. So I've kind of come back to clarify a couple points around, you know, how to do some of the basic Unity tasks around improving the textures, just so that it was a little more of a complete tutorial. So the first piece of that is how we actually get the textures, or the new high-res texture, into the project, which is really straightforward. It's just a drag and drop into this here texture space here, which I'm going to do with a demo texture, but obviously I don't really have the full desktop captured, so you can't necessarily see it coming in, but I just grab the texture from the Windows desktop, I drag it in, I drop it into the texture space here, and you can see it crop up here. Once we've got it here, you can see that max size is exactly the It's kind of the default in Unity. It's possible that there's a way to change it, but I haven't really gone digging around for it. But you can see it there at the 2048. We can change that again to the 8192. So then the last piece is, what do we do with this texture now that we have it, right? Because we had to import our higher res texture, so where do we put it now? And that is that we apply it to a material. So we have our materials list here, and in it is all of our different pieces. Here's the body. Whoa. Oh, I forgot to apply that max size increase. Yes, please apply. There we go. So here we have our body material, and this is the little space for the texture, as well as the emission texture, shader textures. We don't need to worry too much about that. Those will have stuff in them from having come out of VRoid. My model's a little bit different. You might be able to tell. So yeah, so we can just select that. We go back to our textures. We go to our new high-res one, and we just grab it, and we just drag it onto that and drop it down. I'm not going to do that because that's not the right texture, but that's all you would do. Once you've got that, you export it just the same way you imported it. Again, look for some tutorials on that, and then that's it. Now you've actually got those high-res textures added to the model and the materials and all of that, and then it just goes where it goes. Anyway, back to pass me. You can do that to every single one of your textures. You can just up the max size. This doesn't like dictate what size it is, so you can set them to 8192 and then have smaller resolution sizes if you want. This is only controlling a compression, not like an expansion. So you can just set these to max and then just go with whatever you've got. The one thing to keep in mind, of course, is that you do have to keep your aspect ratio. So for instance, your irises, your eyeliners, your eyebrows, all of those are going to have to keep the crazy resolution. I believe they're normally 1024 by 256. You can see here I've doubled them. I didn't feel it was really necessary to go too much more than doubling, seeing as the space that these textures are covering is much, much smaller. So it's not a huge deal that they're a little bit lower resolution. But once you're working with the body and the face, I mean, the body especially is covering it just... its pixels got to do a lot of work. There's a lot of body to cover and not a whole lot of pixels to do it. So boosting that goes an enormous way towards improving things and making it just look so much sharper. This gives you the opportunity to zoom in a lot more. It just keeps things so much cleaner. And if you were, well, pretty much everybody's a better artist than I. If you're a better artist, you can do a lot of good in getting, you know, some really good artwork and really beautiful stuff. Because, I mean, a lot of model makers can just do that even with the terrible texture resolutions, which is a miracle to me. I'm not that skilled. All I can manage is, you know, straight lines. But even then, high resolution goes a long way. And that's it. That's all you got to do. Just go change your texture settings in Unity, do up your higher resolution textures, just stick them in. Bada bing, bada boom, you're done. That's it. That's the guide. It's amazing that I haven't heard anybody talk about, but, you know, now hopefully you too can be equipped with the small tool of just better texture. Anyway, good luck and happy model making. Bye.